True peace, true peace. Happy holiday, peacemakers. Let's get it started for this week's holy day. Hope everyone is enjoying a Friday. We'll get us opened up here. Get this thing started. Welcome to World Temple, Branch Temple number 24 of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We are a global branch temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and we're teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed that they may learn to love instead of hate. Come link yourself with the family of nations by clicking that block of words at the top that says World Temple. Join us. You can join us as a guest, and feel free to join us here every Friday. First thing first, I want to give honors to the divine creator, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, the Elohim, Kachina, the Umare, whatever portion or part of the divine creator you are familiar with. I want to give honors to the prophet, Noble Joe Ali. I want to give honors to the original staff of the prophet. I want to give honor to all those who came after the prophet, your Malcolm X's, your Martin Luther King's, your C.M. Bays, your Hakeem Bays, etc. I want to give honors to everyone who will be here in participation with us tonight as we embark on this Kupa tonight that we dive into. So let me go ahead and share the room, make sure everybody know that we are live and they can join us. But as I said, I hope y'all are enjoying y'all holy day. We're going to get started here in a second. So just bear with me. If you're popping in and out the room, leave something in the chat. That way we can know you stop through, because they're not letting us know who popped in and out no more on Clubhouse, which is something I suggest they bring back. Not really sure if they popping in and listening to the rooms anymore. So we're gonna see what they do. All right. Let's share one more time. Sharing it to our regular social media platforms. Alright. So that way we can jump right into our divine supplication and get this opening going for tonight. We're going to discuss some things. And jump into our next series of lectures here. So y'all know how it go. As we do here every week, we begin our prayers and thinking by using the awe. O Heavenly One, the Most High, who is sustainer of all the worlds, we do accept the duty you have laid on us to clean up the filth made by the West and its non-submitting fools. O my sustainer, we beseech you to keep your hand over us, to control the strings of the courses of our lives. Our sustainer, and if we do wrong, please show our divine blessings and forgiveness on us. You are the only one that can raise us, true followers of the news bearers, and in thy name, we carry on. All right, y'all, so we're going to jump into our 19 affirmations that we have for the family. As we say here every week, these are affirmations that you should read along with you and your family. We call them what we accept as fact, the daily affirmation of loyalty of the children of the Elohim, and as they state, we accept this fact the eternal laws of nature as revealed through science, past events, logic, and common sense, revealed as right knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We accept this fact the highest laws of nature is the cooperation and harmony of all living things. We accept this fact our way of life is a means to the best end. We accept this fact that loyalty is the greatest of all honors and treason is the worst of all crimes. We accept this fact that what is good for the Holy Tabernacle is the highest virtue, and what is bad for the Holy Tabernacle is the ultimate evil. We accept this fact that the Holy Tabernacle is the finest and noblest organization for all humanity, created by circumstances, and the ancient and mystic order of Melchizedek is the noblest of fraternities on and above this planet. We accept this fact that creativity, love, and cooperation are the essence of success. We accept this fact that truth and facts are always and has always been the originator and creator of all success. We accept this fact that all worthwhile cultures and civilizations came about from the ancient Sumerians and Canaanite Egyptians, and the Anunnaki, or Elohims from the heavens, without which there would be none. We accept this fact that for the Holy Tabernacle to survive, expand, and advance, we need first of all a revolution of values and thoughts, which must start within each person by being truthful with themselves and about themselves. Therefore, we completely and categorically reject all myths, fictions, religions, and lies that have not been proven. That would include your heavens, your hell, your hellfire and brimstones, your horny pitchfork devils, your winged angels, and your old man God character sitting on the throne up there somewhere. We deal strictly with facts. If you can't prove it, we don't want to hear it. That doesn't mean we won't listen to you. Just don't expect us to accept your beliefs by virtue of a title such as Reverend, Pastor, Deacon, Imam, Sheik, Rabbi, Minister, Theologian, etc. That is your sensationalism, and we deal with just the facts. We accept this fact that the only true revolution is a war of good against evil, right against wrong, fairness against unfairness, loyalty against disloyalty, sincerity against insincerity, honesty against dishonesty, and it's wars fought within each person among the agreeable and disagreeable Elohims that make up your willpower. We accept this fact that the unity of our community and its success will only happen with cooperation. We're all involved. We accept this fact the total unification of all humanity on the basis of truth, that is, accepting people and races for who and what they are, respecting their culture, their languages, and their beliefs, and expect the same. We accept this fact that the human race's biological and cultural heritage is now under attack by our own morals, our self-righteousness, our desire to control industry, and these things attack the very existence of humanity. We accept this fact that males as well as females are equal in all things and should be dealt with as partners in all matters. We accept this fact that no one race of people is better than the other. In fact, no one wins the race and racism. We accept this fact that communication between different people is the cure to the ignorance that breeds the disease hate. We accept this fact that a good and well-rounded education could prevent most of the ignorance that plagues the world. We accept this fact that the all is just that, the all. You can't take from the all, you can't add to the all. We are all within the all as one. That is our concept of what you call a deity. To the fulfillment of these facts, we children of the Elohim forever pledge our lives, our sacred honor, and our spiritual zeal. All right. So we're going to jump into... We're going to be jumping into our divine constitution and bylaws here in a second. Get that going. Get our Moorish prayer done first. Hey, my brother. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and jump into it. All right. So y'all know how it go. Facing the east, feet at a 45-degree angle. 2 fingers up, 5 fingers up. So we can do this Moorish prayer. Peace again. All right. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali. Amen. All right, y'all. So we're going to dive into our divine constitution and bylaws here next. All right. Before we do that, let me pin the link to our YouTube, because we are almost at that monetization mark. Almost at 1,000 subscribers. I'm pretty sure we'll be there about tonight, or maybe tomorrow. All right. So let's go ahead and jump into this divine constitution and bylaws. As it states, Act 1, the Grand Sheik and the Chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2, all meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel with the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we're teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, color folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Omniversal, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. All right, y'all. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Omniversal, through the guidance of his Father God Allah. All right, y'all. So we're going to jump into our weekly readings from El's Holy, not El's Holy Qur'an, but Holy Qur'an Circle 7. I see you down there, Brother Jonathan. I'll bring you up to the top. Happy holiday. No, true peace. I don't see no microphone by you, so I don't know if you can hear me. And if you're saying something, you're not coming through. Make sure you close your apps before you come on stage, so that way you can clear the sound out. You may got to jump in and jump back out if you're saying anything. Yeah, but if you're saying anything, I definitely can't hear you. No, I'm gonna mod you up so you'll be able to jump right back in when you're ready. Yeah, you might have to make sure you close all your apps. I don't know if you can hear me, but make sure you got your apps closed over there. So while Jonathan get that together, we gonna dive right into our weekly readings. And as you all know, we open up with chapter 25 of the Holy Qur'an Circle 7 here every week. So let's go ahead and do that. Chapter 25 is called the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation. I'll be pinning the school link, that way you guys can get a copy of all the text that we read here during our opening, which is made available in our online school or school district. All right, so chapter 25 called the Holy Covenant, a Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation. And as it states, ye are the children of one father provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother had given you suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brothers in adversity, assist him. If thy sisters in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all, and your love to each other. All right, y'all, so let's jump to chapter 47 and 48. Just know that chapter 25, as I say here every week, is the precursor for all intents, actions, and behaviors of us Moorish people, of us people of the covenant. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in to chapter 47 and 48. All right, chapter 47 is called Egypt, the capital empire of the dominion of Africa. And as it reads, the inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham and his family was second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line of the dominion of Amexem, the first true and divine name of Africa. The dividing of the land between the father and the son, the dominion of Cush, northeast and southeast Africa, and northwest and southwest was his father's dominion of Africa. In later years, many of their brethren from Asia and the Holy Lands joined them. The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit northwest Africa, they were the founders and all the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, with their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brethren who sovereign from the land of Canaan, seeking new homes. Their dominion and inhabitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa, across Great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Islands, before the great earthquake which caused the Great Atlantic Ocean. The river Nile was dredged and made by the ancient pharaohs of Egypt in order to trade with the surrounding kingdoms. Also, the Niger River was dredged by the great pharaoh of Egypt in those ancient days for trade, and it extends eastward from the river Nile, westward across the Great Atlantic. It was used for trade and transportation. According to all true and divine records of the human race, there is no Negro, black, or colored race attached to the human family, because all the inhabitants of Africa were and are of the human race, descendants of the ancient Canaanite nation from the Holy Land of Canaan. What your ancient forefathers were, you are today without doubt or contradiction. There is no one who was able to change man from the descendant nature of his forefathers, unless his power extends beyond the great universal creator Allah himself. These holy and divine laws are from the prophet, Noble Joe Ali, the founder of the Uniting of the Moorish Science Temple of America. These laws are to be strictly preserved by the members of all the temples of the Moorish Science Temple of America, that they will learn to open their meeting and guide it according to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Every subordinate temple of the Grand Major Temple is to form under the covenant of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and to create their own laws and customs in conjunction with the laws of the Holy Prophet and the Grand Temple. Our Prophet Noble Joe Ali was sent by the great God Allah to warn all Asiatics of America to repent from their sinful ways before that great and awful day that is sure to come. The time has come when every nation must worship under its own vine and fig tree, and every tongue must confess its own. Through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery, due to the fact that they honored not the creed and principles of their forefathers. That is why the nationality of the Moors was taken away from them in 1774, and the word Negro, black in color, was given to the Asiatics of America who were of Moorish descent, because they honored not the principles of their mother and father, and strayed after the gods of Europe, of whom they knew nothing. So we can say the same thing happened for all Moors all across the globe. There's beefs and battles about the word Africanus and him being a European, but that name and those terms, especially his name, if you look at his name, that's a Moorish name. So did he name Africa Africa, or did he get the word Africa or Praka from Africa? These are the narratives that get created during these religious controversies and things that happen over time. So with that, we're going to jump into chapter 48, called The End of Time and the Fulfilling of the Prophecies. Happy holy day, Brother John. I see you. I don't know if you can hear me. If you was trying to say something earlier, we definitely could not hear you. I definitely couldn't hear you. So I don't know if you got the same issue you had last week. But just in case, you want to go ahead and close all your other apps. That way you could be able to chime in, because I don't see the mic on your end, so I'm not sure if that's the reason why. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and jump into chapter 48 so we can get to our opening for tonight. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. All right, so let's jump right into it. As it states, the last prophet in these days is Noble Joe Ali, who was prepared divinely in due time by Allah to redeem men from their sinful ways, and to warn them of the great wrath which is sure to come upon the earth. John the Baptist was the forerunner of Jesus in those days, to warn and stir up the nation, and prepare them to receive the divine creed which was to be taught by Jesus. In these modern days, there came a forerunner of Jesus who was divinely prepared by the great God Allah, and his name is Marcus Garvey, who did teach and warn the nations of the earth to prepare to meet the coming prophet, who was to bring the true and divine creed of Islam, and his name is Noble Joe Ali, who was prepared and sent to this earth by Allah to teach the old-time religion and the everlasting gospel to the sons of men, that every nation shall and must worship under their own vine and fig tree, and return to their own and be one with their Father God Allah. The Moorish Science Temple of America is a lawfully chartered and incorporated organization. Any subordinate temple that desires to receive a charter, the Prophet has them to issue to every state throughout the United States, etc., that the world may hear and know the truth, that among the descendants of Africa there is still much wisdom to be learned in these days for the redemption of the sons of man, under love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We, as a clean and pure nation descended from the inhabitants of Africa, do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the families of the pale-skinned nations of Europe, neither serve the gods of their religion, because our forefathers are the true and divine founders of the first religious creed for the redemption and salvation of mankind on earth. Therefore, we are returning the church and Christianity back to the European nations as it was prepared by their forefathers for their earthly salvation, while we, the Moorish Americans, are returning to Islam, which was founded by our forefathers for our earthly and divine salvation. The covenant of the great God Allah: honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the earth land, which the Lord thy God Allah had given thee. Come, all ye Asiatics of America, and hear the truth about your nationality and your birthright, because you're not Negroes. Learn of your forefathers' ancient and divine creed that you will learn to love instead of hate. We're trying to uplift fallen humanity. Come and link yourself with the family of nations. We honor all true and divine prophets. Islam. All right, so that opens us up for tonight. I know Brother Jonathan's mic is out of commission, so I know you don't want to be doing no speaking tonight, so we're just gonna jump right into the message for tonight and what the ancestors and the divine creator want to rain down upon us. But first thing first, we want to make sure that we give the honor and the time and space for the divine creator. A lot of people don't get a chance to do that, let alone understand the sciences that go with that, such as prayer, meditation, grounding yourself. Get outside, put your feet in the grass. Learning these practices of the holy breath that we call truth. The holy breath is truth. So getting in tune with the tone, the celestial tone of the divine creator or almighty nature, however you want to look at that. Getting in tune with that tone. Getting in tune with that science of creation, of becoming one with creation. We want to give that its due acknowledgement and homage. This is why we play the meditation in the background, especially those that are listening in from other platforms like YouTube and wherever else. But with that, I've been coming across some very interesting things this week. Some very interesting things have been taking place this past week, and been having a chance to really listen into some great speakers and catch the wisdom that's being transmitted through them as well. So of course, as I do every week, I want to bring a portion of that here back to our space and place where we gather in the essence of the divine. And just recently, into some great speakers and catch the wisdom that's being transmitted through them as well. So, of course, as I do every week, I want to bring a portion of that here back to our space and place where we gather in the essence of the divine. And just recently, we had some crazy things that are popping off in the finance world, which we're going to talk about more during current events later on tonight. But as we said last week, we want to keep our eyes and mind's eyes open on the things that are concurrent in this phase of time of things that we're going through, or the cycle that we're going through. So it is amazing to me to see our people gather up in the essence of anointings, in the essence of righteousness, not being right, self-conceited, self-righteous, battling over doctrines, caught up in the world, the dogmas of the world. As we grow here in this particular branch temple, number 24, the Moorish Temple of America, called World Temple, the Omniversal Church. Not the Christian church, although we are Colossians here in this particular branch temple. And technically, all temples of the Moorish Temple of America are a part of the fellowship of the original Colossians, or those that follow the Messiah. Which is called the Muklasina. Those that follow the way, the deen. While people battle over creed, culture, and religious controversies, it's good to see the people that gather in the essence and anointedness in the spirit of the divine creator. This is the motivation and the inspiration, the wahi, that led to the clear vision scroll, the template scroll that we have here for branch temple number 24 that was authored by myself. And other books that was written by Moorish scholars, which I'll be working on getting their texts and our temple in the store or the temple library, more so than anything, versus it being called a store. But get those literatures in our temple library. That way, it can be purchased by members of the congregation in the temple court. So, as I'm saying, it's good to see that, because this week I got a chance to just just hear different perspectives from brothers and sisters, whether it be Hebrew brothers or down to our Asiatic brethren or Orientals, which would be a better way to say that. But nonetheless, just seeing the essence of the knowledge and wisdom, especially about finding that unity to communicate with everybody full scale across the world. Of course, we want to bring knowledge, wisdom, understanding to our people, but as I mentioned, there's a lot of people that get caught up in dogmas, the ways of the world, etc. There's a lot of things that we've all personally battled, including myself, all of us. But you have that internal strength to overcome these things. You have that internal strength to be a master of your life, to be the master in your life. And whether it's Muslims, Hebrews, Israelites, etc., or Asiatics, Orientals, Christians, Taoists, Buddhists, those into Jainism, all across the board, there's a thread, as we talk about here very often in the temple, that connects people together, that connects people to the cord, to what we call the divine. It connects us all together. It brings us one with each other. It brings us all together. And so, understanding that we accept this fact, especially in this branch temple, we accept this fact that you got to respect people's languages, their culture, their beliefs, their background. So, some people feel that Christian beliefs come from pagan cultures. That may be was proper in their eyes, and it might not be what's proper in other people's eyes, because we have to remember, especially those with religious backgrounds, it's best to apologize for those that we hurt because of certain religions, especially when it doesn't pertain in that particular understanding that most people have, or dogma that most people would have in that particular religion, doesn't pertain to other cultures and how their perspective of what the scriptures or religious texts that a certain religion or culture may have of the text. And learning to find that thin line, or not that thin line, but that thread and that vine that connects us all in divine love, unity, love, true peace, freedom, and justice. That's what matters the most than us sowing seeds of discourse, seeds of disconnectedness, contention, etc. Because whether it be considered paganistic rituals and things like that to certain cultures, you got to really look into what is considered paganistic and why it is considered paganistic. Because when you're talking about somebody's culture or tradition, it varies based on multiple things, whether it's demographics, etc. So if you never get to the aspect that every person sees a different part of the divine and has a connection with that source through their own individual culture, you will never truly understand the body of the anointedness. The body of anointedness. And there's also a science to this anointedness. These sciences that I mentioned earlier, your meditation, prana, the breath, getting in tune with those sciences, getting in tune with that message, but also the work that comes with that message. There's work that comes with that message. There's work that comes with that message. There are sacred practices that are included in the faith that you may have. Whatever faith you may have, as we know in the scriptures, it say faith without work is pretty much dead. So, learning to get in tune with your breath, your essence, learning these grounding techniques, especially with our emotions and the multitude of emotions, energies, frequencies, and things like that that we're bombarded with on a regular. To maintain a clean aura. Naturally, people walk around with energy from the lower self, the body. You have a positive current, and you have a negative current. And that energy is constantly emitting. But people are not shown how to transmute that energy. Sometimes this is what happens when you're in the church or whatever spiritual center or place that you gather in, and a lot of that energy is transmuted to an individual. And that's really the science behind being a pastor, being a minister, being a magi, a magistrate. Or imam, guru, one who is out front. Some gurus or teachers, rabbis, rabbonis, some prefer to show you to ground and transmute that energy through self-practice. Some require that you transmute that power and that energy to them versus you learning how to build up a current, a reservoir of clean energy, positive energy, which attracts positive things into your life. So this is why the teachings of the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Zabuwr, was complicated for a lot of people because he would tell them, don't believe a word that I say. Don't believe a word that comes out of my mouth. Don't believe me. Don't believe a word that comes out of my mouth. Go check it out for yourself. Go empower yourself. I'm only giving you the DIY. Do it yourself. Formula. This is something that you do for yourself. I'm nothing but a conduit to guide you to the next station. I'm nothing but a spiritual guide for you to get to the next station. And as we talk about, a lot of people, as we talked about in the clear vision portion, a lot of people was not ready for what the master teacher came to give. And that is that spiritual part. That is getting into this new logical way of thinking. That's getting into the science of the Tekanu. Not just studying and reading it through the books and being addicted to the dopamine hit that you get when you read the book, but actually doing the breath work, actually doing the prana work, actually understanding that Nuwabu, the work, the science behind the Wabu is not just the good knowledge of history, the good knowledge of new logically thinking with all these different sciences that come from natural philosophy or come out of natural philosophy or just studying nature itself. It's also about the works that come with it as well, the proper breath techniques. That's what truth is. That's what you're looking for, seeking. Ask, seek, and knock, and the door shall be opened unto you. You're seeking truth. Truth is that holy breath. Now, the wisdom, the knowledge within that truth is the history and all of that. But the wisdom to get to the understanding, especially the understanding, which is being able to be in control of yourself, being able to respect. Each other and other people and their beliefs without attacking them and what they believe. Now, it's okay to give correction. Only fools duck when knowledge is thrown at them. That's proper. But sometimes we miss the bigger picture because we're so engrossed with all of these words of semantic nature. Of semantic nature. Saying the same thing, don't even realize you're saying the same thing because you don't understand the semantics and the word game that's going on. Especially when you classify something as paganistic, you're talking about something that is of indigenous culture. A lot of indigenous cultures have been around even before what you understand to be Hebrew, which is actually Chaldaic. What you understand to be Israelite culture or Ishmaelite culture. So you really got to dive in for self and learn these sacred breath techniques as we talk about them here, go over them here, but actually do them yourself. There will be those that join me once we continue to grow and open up the Patreon platform, the YouTube platform, depending on what direction we decide to go in. Once we step into the next phase of things, because we will be meditating together, just like we read certain texts and documents together. That's also a part of the work that we got to do. Finances is just one thing, getting into finance, getting into economics. We did a whole series on why economic conversation needs to be a priority conversation. So from here on out, you'll hear us talking about economics, but actually getting into real principles of economics and those things that we discussed during the economic series. But you'll also hear us talking about the things that need to be discussed to get in touch with the Ruach, the divine soul, the breath work, to get in touch with that truth. As it says, the truth will set you free in the scriptures, right? And in the one-on-one, what is truth? What is truth? That's the holy breath. So get in tune with that holy breath. The science of utilizing your breathing, that Quranic breathing. That helps you understand the next person. Look past and see past the dogmas. Look past the issues that these people are having. Gather in the spirit and the essence, the forces of righteousness. Not gathered in the essence and spirit of I gotta be right. And as those who are of my priority right now, which is indigenous and black people, you find us fighting the most in a lot of spaces with lack of decorum, a lack of understanding, a lack of proper communication with one another, being able to hear one another out. Talk over each other, we do it in an argumentative manner, in an argumentative state. Because what is going on now with all the microwaves, the telephones, and all the low frequency energy, there's not many people out here showing our people, us as a people, how to transmute this energy and do it for themselves. They go give it to the guy on YouTube, the guru, the YouTube guru, or the pastor who doesn't know about these sciences. And it's okay to get into teaching about the herbs and nutrition and health. That's a great ordeal. But also learning about the frequencies of nature, the organic connection, the celestial connection to the divine, and how you go about doing such. Not just because you're gathered in the body of anointingness. I'm here. I'm here. I'm present. But what does your presence mean? What is your presence symbolic of? What is your presence here to do? Contribute. This is why is most of the time there's very few of us in this space. So I was honored even today to stumble upon a brother named Pastor Kofi. Got a chance to listen to him on TikTok just earlier, and I was really moved by the brother's message. And usually I have a slight sense of disdain when I'm listening to brothers from the Hebrew Israelite camps teach, because a lot of what comes out is mostly about being right and battling with the Christians, or battling with the Muslims, battling with the Kemetic brothers and sisters, battling with all these different schools of thought that are actually within the Hebrew doctrine, and it's overlooked, misunderstood, and taught poorly, because there hasn't been any actual hermeneutics being included into the knowledge and the message. Only literary understanding. So for a brother to make that connection with the Messiah or Christ, I really applaud that brother's message, and just having the blessed chance to be able to catch it earlier today. But that's also a part of why I'm saying we have to be in tune with the all, and remember what we accept as fact, especially in branch temple number 24, is that we gotta respect each other's backgrounds, languages, cultures, beliefs, faiths. Because the brother, while I was there, was asked a couple questions that he answered beautifully in a logical and universal way, and didn't really expect the delivery to be expressed that way. But someone asked the brother about Muslims. How do we feel about Muslims? And his response immediately was, Ishmael is my brother. Versus all of the bickering and the fighting that happens immediately, or the disdain that comes from that question. Immediately noted and also quoted some things about what took place during that time of Ishmael, and understanding that what is in your doctrine is the same thing that's in our doctrine. So technically, it may have a different name, different terms, different understandings, but it is essentially the same principle. Same principle. So I kept listening, and heard him going to some other things, and he kept making these same points. And these are points that we have also made here many times in branch temple number 24. But there's a connection that connects us all, even down to Jainism, Taoism, Confucianism. From all of the world religions. Zoroastrianism, as we talked about here a couple weeks back. Now, Judaism and a couple of these other cultures go back to Zoroastrianism. Judah to Europe. Judah all of the modern day versions of these ancient cultures, these ancient people. Well, people will forget the knowledge of the ancient ones, the ancient ancestors. So, us, as Muslims or peacemakers, we acknowledge all divine prophets, all true and divine prophets. So that means the wisdom and the knowledge that goes all the way back to Prophet Jeremiah, etc. The Moabites are descendants of Lot, which is related to Abraham. Lot ended up going to where the disagreeables were. And then you had waxing strong, the Moabites, the tribe of the Moabites. Now, in modern day times, you might disagree with how the Moabites came about. You might disagree with some of the things the Moabites did that's documented in the text. But there's also some things that the Israelites don't agree that's documented in the text. But seeing past that to make that connection, that oneness, because though it may have a stain on the whole collective of whatever particular tribe or orientation, you still have those that look past these things and find that divine, that cord that connects us all. So, with that, I want to go ahead and jump into some of the old sayings and prophecies from the prophet, and then we're going to close out with that for our message tonight. We have to be able to see and find that divine connection between us all. We got to be able to come together on the things that we can agree upon and work together on, and put aside the things that we disagree about. Because us as indigenous peoples globally have issues that we're dealing with and we got to work through. Diaspora wars with the FBA, the ADOS people, Black Native Americans, American Indians, etc. This whole America First thing is bringing along with it a lot of ego tripping. And there's nothing wrong with putting America first if America is the land that we're sovereign to, the land that we're indigenous to. But as I state here all the time, you have those that are indigenous to more than one place on the planet. We are indigenous to the planet itself. A lot of people that call themselves American Indians are actually Indians from Kushtana or the Kush Valley, in this Kush Valley. All right, so let's jump into some of these prophecies or sayings from the prophet. The prophet say the European is going to have to pay our people off for the work they did in slavery and pay off in compound interest. And this is mentioned a lot of times in the temples. This is mentioned in the rhetoric from a lot of our speakers in the temples. That we will be getting back our contribution in compound interest. And that's a lot of what the movement of the Foundation of Black Americans, ADOS, and Lord knows whatever else is out there. But a lot of those movements are targeting or established for the fight of reparations and clearing up the drama that comes along with it. Because it's going to be a lot of controversy, but it already has been a controversial situation already. But here goes the prophet, Lawiy, saying that the Europeans is going to have to pay our people off for the work they did in slavery. So you have those who see the Moorish Temple of America, Hebrew Israelites, Nation of Islam, all of these people as a part of the church. Whether it be Baptist, ETC, whoever, they look at them as part of the black church that has robbed the people, but that's not really what can be classified as the black church, because what's mentioned right there in the Holy Quran Circle 7 is we're giving back the Europeans, the church, and Christianity, while we Moorish Americans are returning to Islam. Peace or submission to the divine creator. We're turning back into submission to the divine creator. So our purpose is to understand the divine creator from our own vine and our own fig tree. This is why hermeneutics is important. This is why understanding the practices and where these practices come from and where they're rooted from. There's a lot of things that the Hebrews adopted from the Sumerians. But you don't hear those who practice Sumerian culture or Chaldean culture going to battle and beef with the Hebrews. There's not a big following of Chaldean people or groups in this modern day and time. But understanding what we have at our hands today with this reparation situation, which should really be considered restitution if we want to be restored back what is lawfully due to us. They can't pay back in currency, especially with a debased currency. So there's going to be a lot of things that got to be figured out. And you're going to have those that do the Thurgood Marshall thing and sell us short. And no disrespect to the brother Thurgood Marshall, but this is the things that we're dealing with. Like a lot of the Buffalo Soldiers. There's books about American Indians enslaving Africans and black people here in this country. So you got a lot of perspectives that you have to deal with versus battling over America being the first continent of the old world and all these things that come with certain narratives that are meant to only distract us, which may seem like enlightenment to some people who didn't know that there was buildings that was built by those who built Tataria, who built Lemuria, who built Amexem, etc. The prophet is sitting right here in the text telling us that, hey, things were built from Atlantis all the way back to Africa. So, of course, you're going to find Egyptian artifacts in the Grand Canyon. These are things that you're going to find. These are things that you're going to come across. Of course, you're going to have these things. Of course, there are going to be black towns like Chicago that people don't know was started by a Moorish man or a black man. There's going to be things that people do not know about. That's just a general thing in life. But the more you dive deep, when you stay in tune with those fundamental principles that connects us all to the divine and through the heart, we meet each other in the heart. It'll take you further along than getting caught up in these narratives that are truly, at the end of the day, are only established out of ego and meant to distract us. So there gotta be some respect put on the prophet's name. There gotta be some respect put on Marcus Garvey's name. Just like the prophet, who came from a whole different perspective than the prophet, than the forerunner, Honorable Marcus Garvey. Then you had the Nation of Islam that came out of that, and then Hebrew Israelites that came out of the Nation of Islam as well. That came out of that, and continue and so forth, because Ishmael and Israel are brothers. All of them come out of Shem. All of them come out of ancient Sumerian culture. The whole calendar of the Hebrews is based on ancient Sumerian culture and ancient Chaldean culture. So you don't see the Chaldeans and the Sumerians calling the Hebrew cultures paganistic cultures, battling them over Elu or Eli. Because the laws during that time was a totally different laws. Those people were considered demon people, the place of the demons, the land of Ur, of Chaldea. All right. All right. So the prophet said Chicago is doomed and Detroit must go down for what they have done to I, your prophet. So if you look at the state of what happened to Detroit and what was been happening more recently with Chicago, the prophet definitely was saying some things here. And a lot of the teachings of what the prophet done has been misused by the education system, political parties, and even siphoning off into gang activity. The prophet told us to try to live close together, commune together, come together with people of like-minded nature. So this is the work that we're doing here in the temple. This is the binding relationship that we're going to build here in the temple. I also heard another good thing from the brother. He gave a good perspective of the connotative and deconnotative when it comes to looking at the word religion. He stated that legion just means a group of people or many people coming together to do the same thing over and over again. And when you think about it, legion outside the context of the name of a demon in the scriptures, in the context of what it means, which means many, even though it's referring to her through the hermeneutics, many demons, the word can still be used in the opposite light. And this is why I say all the time, I've been saying just here recently, if you get up and wipe your butthole every day, then you're a part of the butthole wipers. You're a part of, you get up and brush your teeth every day, you're a part of the teeth brushes. That is a culture, that is a thing. Even though it's a necessity, it might not be a necessity for other people. So I'm gonna end off with this last statement from the prophet. The prophet say, we the Moors are a hard-headed, stiff-necked, mean set of people that have never did anything except at the point of a sword. So through all of the things that we know from the Awalim, the first ones, those of the past, they didn't listen. They didn't pay attention to the things that was being warned of them by their messages, by their Rasuls. So with that, we're gonna close out this sermon for tonight. But remember, the prophet also stated this, and it's gonna be the final one. The prophet said, we the Moors have the blood of every nation flowing through our veins, thereby bringing about a cross spirit. And this is what the brother was speaking to, Brother Pastor Kofi, earlier. He mentioned a lot of these things earlier. And the live I got to listen to and stumbled upon this morning. And like I said, it was a beautiful thing, because he also mentioned how being Hebrew could clash with certain things that you do as an African and different tribes that you might be a part of, or as an American and different things that you do tribally, or through education, or through the work environment, economically. There's a lot of things that clash with what you do and how you live, whether it's geographically or socially, culturally, whatever it may be. So with that, we're going to close out tonight's message. We're going to jump into these current events, talk about some things that's currently taking place in the now time. Much love to everybody who came through and listened, jumped in and out, not sure who came in, but much honors to you all. So I'm not sure if you're available to chime in, Brother Jonathan, if you got any contributions. Like I said, you might want to fix your mic, because I do not see the mic for you if you want to chime in, or if you did try to say anything. But I'm going to go ahead and reset the room, and then we're going to jump right into tonight's current events. So with that, welcome to branch temple number 24 of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We are a global branch temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America, branch temple number 24. We're teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may learn to love instead of hate. If you want to link yourself with the family of nations, click that block of words at the top that says World Temple. Come and join us as a guest member of the temple. If you want to become an active member, stick around, listen. You want to listen to the whole lecture, the whole sermon, the whole kupa to the end. That way you can become an active member in the temple and join us on our Patreon, and coming here soon, our YouTube channel and other things, possibly Twitter and whatever else that we might be creating creating groups or avenues for the congregation to come and get involved with the royal court. So with that, we're going to jump into our current events for tonight, for this week. And first thing first, I want to go ahead and let it be known that we are almost at 100 subscribers currently. 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So we are definitely almost monetized here. I reached out to Clubhouse about being able to make the downloads, and they messaged me back saying they're working on it. So we're going to give them some time to work on that and let them do what they need to do. And then we're going to continue to do our temple services here, create beautiful content that we can add to our YouTube channel, and eventually create more content that our people could join in on. But we will be monetized. We will be getting a stream of income coming from the content that we're producing here for Holy Day. And this is a part of that divine inspiration. Our niche is inspiration, motivation, and spirituality, and enlightenment. So we have different lecturers, different speakers, some that we might not fully have the same outlook of things with, but it is a perspective nonetheless that should be widely known or shared and expressed. So we put those lectures, especially from great speakers who could deliver the message that's being transmitted to them, and we make those type of productions available on the page, on the channel. And the channel is named after me, Dr. Lawiy, Grand Sheik, because this is the way the structure of the Moorish Temple of America is set up. The Grand Sheik and the chairman has the authority to make law and enforce the laws. So understanding that your imam, your Grand Sheik, your Sheik, your imam, the imama, is the one who was out front. Your Sheik, who's the ruler. Your Sheik, who's the ruler. That type of structure that we have is an authoritarian form of government. So we're not questioning what type of form of politics that we have. We acknowledge our Grand Sheiks, imams, other divine leaders as the royalty as they are. We talk about this a lot here in the temple. We are of the Ummah. We are the people of the Ummah. So understanding that we have the lawful and public acknowledgement as a sovereign theocratic government. We are the royalty of that government. The difference is between us and your Brits, your British royalty, your Prince Williams and Harrys and King this and King Queen that. They're not constantly giving lectures. They're not the imams and delivering service. Even over there in the so-called Middle East, we don't find that happening and taking place like that. Because a lot of things have become more politicized than anything else. And forgetting that cultural tradition, especially indigenous tradition, of coming together in the gathering under the chief, which in this case would be a sheik or a sheik. And I'm also Chief Black Raven Thunderbird. So, with that, let's get into some more of these current events. I'm not sure if you're enjoying it, John. I don't know if you want to contribute for tonight. Like I said, you might have to close, you might have to jump out, jump back in, and close the other apps. Like I said, I don't see a mic for you, anything like that. So I know there's a glitch going on. But recently, as I was mentioning earlier, there's some things that happened that I've been talking about it for a while with the CBCDs, the central bank digital currencies. They have actually been banned on one level of, I think it's the Senate, and I don't think it has made it completely to Congress just yet, but they have banned the Federal Reserve from issuing CBCDs for the government, for the country, which I mentioned this plenty of times before, but it's actually taking place as we speak. And you do have documentation from the government coming out about stable coins and governance and rules over that, and the SEC and whether they have authority over crypto and things like that, which it should be understood that the SEC does not regulate crypto, they regulate securities and exchanges. So when it comes to trading and investing, things like that, they're there to protect the consumer. They're there to protect the investor. Doesn't mean they're going to get it right all the time. No, it's not what's going to happen. Especially when you have a lot of corruption, a lot of miseducation, and misunderstanding of how the government works, especially with career politicians, as we mentioned last week. You have a lot of misunderstanding with that, and they themselves have a misunderstanding of their position. So, with that, be on the lookout for us updating the website. We're working on getting that back together. We have some meetings scheduled to get that taken care of. But also, like I mentioned, we are almost monetized on YouTube. We're actually on our way to 1,000 subscribers, and then from there we'll be doing our thing. All right. So with that, we're gonna jump off into our weekly readings of El's Holy Qur'an. Finish up where we left off last week, because that was a very long chapter that we went over last week. So we're gonna close out with that for this segment. Then we're gonna jump into the holy instructions for tonight and close out with mandatory literature from the Prophet. Alright, so we left off on this section of chapter 39, ayah 36 through 39. Ayah 36 through 39. In the section called the concealers of the facts will not enter al-Jannat. The Anunnakis will remove all bad feelings from the faithful ones. So as I mentioned earlier, tuning into the Elohim, the divine. That's what this section is about. And transmuting that energy. So let's keep in mind that this is what we discussed just earlier. All right. So these ayats, as it states, says, he will say to Enocytes who follow the devil into the fire with the Umimim nations who have indeed passed before you all from the jinn, malevolent beings, the cherubims, and the Enocytes, seeds of Adam who follow the disagreeable one, into the fire whenever a Umatun nation shall enter the lake of hell. It shall curse its sister, those nations of Enocytes whom they follow into sin, until when all reach hell altogether. The last of them, modern nations, will say about the first of them, Babylon, our master or sustainer who was robbed. These are they who led astray all into error. So give to them, the 200 fallen malevolent beings, a double arhaba, pain in al-nar, the fire. He says, for all of them is a double, but you don't know. And she said, the great beast, the harlot, to the last of them. So you have no preferences over us for yourselves. So therefore taste the pains by what you have earned yourself. Surely those who lie about the Elohim sign, the scriptures, and were too big chested, pouting with pride to accept them, the doors or the gates of Al Samai, the skies, or the vortex, will never open for them until the camel can pass through the needle's eye. We, the Elohim Anunnaki, also will reward the guilty ones. A Jahannam, blazing fire, hell, will be their abode, with barriers above them. We, the Anunnaki, also will punish those in a state of injustice. And as for those who are faithful and are working to perfect their beings themselves, we, not I, the Elohim, do not impose on any nafsan person except that which it can accomplish. These are you who are the companions of Al Jannat, enclosed garden of delight. In it you shall be eternally. And we, the Elohim Anunnaki, will remove all bad feelings from their chest or breast. The river will flow underneath them, and they will say, all gratitude is for Allah, who calmed us for this, and we would not have been claimed, we would not have been calm for it, meaning the science of Nawabu, if the source Allah had not rightly calmed us. Certainly, all the ones sent, Rasul, came with the facts, and it will be called out that this is the enclosed garden of the light of which you will be made heirs for what you did or how you lived. And the companions of the Jannat will call out to the companions of the fire that indeed we have found what our Rab or sustainer has promised us is a fact. So have you all found what your master have promised you to be a fact? So they will say, yes. Fa'adha dahana. Fa'adahana. So called the Muwarim caller. The caller will call out the Azan, Banahum, between them, that the physical curse of the source, Allah, is on those who are in a state of injustice and those who hinder others in the regards of the path of Allah. Those false teachers, preachers, imams, and sheiks that misguide Enocytes, and they seek to make a crooked way that creates all forms of sectism and denominations, and they are the ones who conceal what they know to be facts in the end. So that really touches on what we talked about here tonight. So this next section is called the companions of the fire will desire to be the companions of Al Jannat. So these next ayats read, and between them two, heavens, the planet above the firmament, Jupiter, Kishar, Saturn, Anshar, Uranus, Mashik, Neptune, or Ea, and the planets below the asteroid belt firmament, Mercury, Mumu, Venus, Lahamu, Earth, Tiamat, Mars, Lamu, will be a screen, or seven heavens and hell, and on our earth, the wall made known will be resolved, mortal men who know all by their marks, and they shall call out to the companions of the enclosed garden of the light, peace be unto you. They will not have yet entered it through, though they hope to. And when their inner sight is turned in the direction of the companions of the fire, they will say, our master has not made us among the kindred who are in a state of injustice. These false lords do not see themselves as cursed, so they think they will not go to hell. And the companions shall call out to the inner sights that they know by their marks, the mark of the beast, 666, Zane, 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 that shall say, of what avail were unto you, and your gather, and how you used to act so proudly. Are these those about whom you swore that Allah would not give them his yielding mercy? Enter into Jannat, enclosed garden of delight, and you shall have no fear, nor shall you grieve. And the companions of the fire shall call out to the companions of the enclosed garden of delight, saying, pour down on us the waters, or from that which the source Allah has provided you. They shall say, surely Allah has made them too unlawful on those who conceal what they know to be the facts. Those who take their means of judgment as some form of idle sport, and as if it is a game, the physical world of this life has them deceived. So today, we, not he, the Elohim, Anunnaki, have Nasam, forgot the meeting of their day, how they neglected to obey in fear of the judgment day. And just as they denied our not his verses, the scriptures, and indeed we, the Elohim Anunnaki, came to them with a scripture, the holy tablets. So we, the Elohim, explained it, the scripture, Allah, over the ilmin, knowledge of calmness and a yielding mercy for a kindred, family of Adam or Kala, who has faith. Are they looking for nothing except the day when its interpretation finally comes upon them, the holy tablets, on the day when its interpretation will finally come about, which is 1996, or done in 1996, he will say, those who forgot, neglected from before, will say, indeed, the Rasulu, one sent, all the news bearers of our sustainer, Rob, has come with the facts. So are there for us any Sufaha intercessors? So they will be able to Yashfawu, intercede for us? Or could we have been sent back so that we may do other than that, which we already would? Indeed, they lost their own selves. They are astray in a state of error in that which they have invented. Forget their hadith. Forged their hadith has departed away from them. So this next section is called the act of Khalaq. Creation is the source. Call out to the master without raising your voice rudely. Alright, so we're going to go over that. Next, I'm just checking real quick to see how long this chapter is. Might have to break it up again. It's looking kind of long here. Yeah, we might have to break this up again. This chapter is very, very, very long. Alright, so let's read this next section. We're going to read two more. We're going to close it off there. So the next ayat read, which started off with Gabriy'El speaking. For surely your Rab, sustainer, who is the source, Allah, who created the skies and the planet Earth in only 6 daily periods, then he not we fulfilled his not our responsibilities on the throne, Ilyum. He screens the shadow hour period by the luminative daytime hour, which persistently pursues it, and the sun, the moon, and the stars, all are made subservient to his divine command. Is it not that his is the act of creating and the commands? Blessed is the sustainer who is robbed of all the known worlds. Humbly call out to your master in secret. Surely he does not like the transgressors, those who violate the sanctity of supplication by raising their voices impertinently or rudely, and do not cause mischief in Al-Ard, the planet Tiamat, Earth, after its restoration or replenishment, rebuilding, and repopulation, and call on him in Kafan, fear, and anticipation. Surely the unrelenting mercy of the source, Allah, is nearer to those who does that which is best. And he not we, who send forth the very winds or crafts, bearing good news between mine not our hands, and his will and his yielding mercy, until when they bring up a heavy laden cloud, and we not he, the Elohim Anunnaki, drove it to a dead land, and we, the Elohim, sent down water from it. So we, the Elohim Anunnaki, brought forth, weary over it by the rain, all kinds of fruit. Just like that, we the Anunnaki shall bring forth the dead, so that perhaps you may be mindful or remember. And the agreeable land or country brings forth vegetation in abundance by the permission of its Rab. And as those who are inferior, bad crops, and do not bring forth except sparingly. This is how we, not he, the Elohim Anunnaki, repeat our signs for a kindred who are grateful. All right, so let's jump into this next section called the sending of the apostle Noah or Utnapishtim and his nation's end. And these next ayats read for this section. Indeed, we not he, the Elohim Anunnaki, sent Noah, who is also known as Utnapishtim, to his kindred. So he, Noah, said, O my kindred, slave for the source, Allah, for there does not exist for you any other Elohim, source besides him. Surely I, Noah, Utnapishtim, fear for you all a day of supreme pain. The Malay rulers of his kindred said, surely we see you, Noah, Utnapishtim, as one who has clearly gone astray into error. He, Noah, said, O my kindred, I have not in any way gone astray into error, but I am a Rasul, sent from the Rab, sustainer of all the known worlds. I, Utnapishtim, Abalihukum, propagate to you the Rasilat messages of my Rab, Adonia, who is master, and I advise you all, and I know things from the source, Allah, which you do not know. Or do you wonder about the facts that there has come to you all a reminder from your master or sustainer, a Rajulin, mortal man from amongst you, from your own inner sights, who is to warn you all, so that you will tremble at the mention, and then perhaps you will be treated with mercy, or stop your disagreeableness. But they still called him, Noah, or Utnapishtim, a liar. So we not he, the Elohim Anunnaki, delivered him and those who were with him, Ham, Labana, Shem, Yafet, Fatah, Ifat, Halima, Naama, and the 80 beings inside of the craft. And we, the Elohim, drowned all those who lied and rejected our verses, which is the Enuma Elish in the tablets from before. Surely they were a blind kindred. So this next section is called the sending of the Rasul, Eber, and his nation's end. And Eber is where they get the word Ibri from, which is how you say Hebrew in actual Hebrew language. And one more point, this is the agreement that Enlil and Enki came together about for Omniverse and bringing upon the flood for those that would not listen to the Elohim, which is Enlil and Enki, when they came together and made a truce between one another. So this next section is called the sending of the Rasul Eber and his nations in. And the ayat to read for this section, and to the kindred of Ad went their brother Hud, or Eber, and he who said, O my source, for what you have is not from any other source besides him. So will you not tremble at the mention? The rulers of them who conceal what they know, all the facts from their kindred, said, surely we see you, who is also known as Eber, as foolish, ignorant, and unqualified to make such claims. In fact, we think that you are of those who are liars. He who, or Eber, said, the one sent to the nation of Ad, O my kindred, there's not stupidity in me, but I am a Rasul sent from the Rab of all the known worlds. I who, or Eber, delivered unto you all a message from my Rab, and I, Eber, who am for you all a trustworthy advisor. Or are you all the innosites of Muhammad's time, amazed that remembrance has come to you from your Rab, Allah, on a Rajulan, mortal man, Muhammad, from amongst you, to warn you and remind you. And when he made you all caliphs, successors, left behind, and you came after Noah's kindred, and he increased you all, or remultiplied you on our Ard, Tiamat, earth, and the creation, evermore excellence in statue. So remember these benefits of Allah, then perhaps you all will be prosperous. They said, the inner sights of Ad, have you come to us in order for us to slave for the source, Allah alone, and for us to give up what we used to slave for from before our forefathers? Then make to come upon us by it the pain you have threatened us with, if you are to be of the Zodokites, the trusted ones. He who said, indeed, shameful acts and wraths fell upon them from their Rab, sustainer. Do you dispute with me about the names which you and your forefathers was given? Allah did not send down for it any authoritative power. So I am also watching with you all and those who are waiting. So we not I, the Elohim Anunnaki, delivered him, who or ever, and those who are with him, who from our not his, the Elohim's, Ramat, yielding mercy, from us, not mine, and we, not his, the Anunnaki, cut off the very last of those who lied about our signs, and they were not of the faithful ones. So this is the last section. We're going to close it off with this one and pick up with chapter 39, ayat 73 through 82. We'll pick up from there for next week, Holy Day. So this next section is called the sending of the Rasul, Sela, and Lot, and their nations in. So these ayats read, and to the innosites of Thamud, we the Elohim Anunnaki did send their brother Salih. He said, O Nas, slave, the source, Allah, there is no other for you besides this Ilah, source. Indeed, a clear proof has come to you from your Rab. This is Allah's she-camel, which is assigned to you. So let it roam and eat in the pasture in the sources, Allah's good earth, and don't touch her with any harm, or you shall be taken by an aching pain. And remember when he not we, the source, Allah, made you all caliphate, successors, left behind after Ad, and he settled you all in a certain place in the planet Ard, Tiamat. And you chose to make mansions on its plains, and you dug out houses into the varying mountains, into the caves. So remember the benefits of the source, and don't act corruptibly in the planet Earth, Qui, causing all forms of mischief. The ruler said, those who are big-chested, pouting with pride of his kindred, unto those who are considered the weak, to those who are faithful amongst them. Did you know that Silla was sent from his Rab or sustainer? They said, surely we are faithful by way of what he, Silla, has been sent with. Those who were big-chested, pouting with pride, said, surely we are concealers of the facts about that which you have faith in. So they, Tammuz, slaughtered the she-camel and revolted against the commands of their Rab, and they said, O Silla, bring upon us the pain of what you threaten us with, if you are indeed of the one sent, if you are of the one Rasul, one sent. So the shaking of the earth overturned them, the inner sights of Damud, and as the early daytime hour came upon them, they became a motionless abode. So he, Silla, turned away from them, inner sights of Damud, and said, O my kindred, I would deliver unto you the message of my Rab, who is master or sustainer. I, Silla, tried to give you all good advice, but you do not like those who come to give you good advice. And as for Lut or Lot, when he said to his kindred, Sodom, which means burning, and Gomorrah, which means submersion, what is it that makes you fahashat, commit such indecencies or abominations, that which has not been done in the world by anyone before you in the known worlds, these abominations? Surely you all have come unto Rijal, mortal men, lustfully, other than going unto al-Nisa'a, the inner sight women. In fact, you, Sodom and Gomorrah, are a very extravagant kindred. And his Lut, kindred Sodom and Gomorrah, of Sodom and Gomorrah, had no other answer except that they said, cast them out from your town or village. Surely they, Lut and his family, are Nas, Enosites who seek to purify themselves. So we not he, the Elohim Anunnaki, delivered him, Lot and his family, except Amra Atuhu, his woman, Sabria. She was of those who remained behind. She, Sabria, turned back and was changed into a pillar of salt or paralyzed. And we, the Elohim Anunnaki, rained down upon them, Sodom and Gomorrah, with a rain. So look at how the guilty ones end up. All right, so we're going to stop right there. Continue on next week with the section called The Sending of Shua or Jethro to the Midians and his nations in. And this is what I was speaking about earlier when I mentioned that the ending of a people, the nations, they're usually ignored before these events happen. So this is talked about in the Torah, from before the Torah, going into the Enuma Elish and the warnings that are in there, the Atra Hasis, those Sumerian texts that carried on forward into the Torah, the Talmud, and eventually became your Mishnah and your Kabbalah and those oral teachings and that oral knowledge. And this is what they made the hadiths and the traditions of men based upon, which is the carrying on of those that didn't listen to those Rasuls that are sent. So this is why I mentioned earlier, you got to find that line that connects us all together, because the message, like I say here all the time every week, it's not scripted. I'm not giving y'all no pre-programmed script. We're going based off Spirit, what Spirit wants us to talk about here for Holiday on Fridays for these Koopas. And we deliver that sermon during this mental reservoir that's open while we do what we do. And we have a small gathering, whether it's just me, 2 2, 3 people, 4 people, 5 people, or it's 30, 45, 50 of us, however many in the room. This is not scripted. So for us to have the message that we did today, and me stumbling upon the things I stumbled upon today, and brought, like I said, we're bringing that back to the space here, and we get into El's Holy Qur'an today, and it's saying the same thing, and it's saying the same exact thing. There's always that divine connection. It's talking about the same exact things that I mentioned earlier during the Cooper. So that's what moving on spirit gets you. It gets you that divine alignment. And it mentioned clearly earlier, if you find a connection to the source, you meeting each other in the heart. That's what it's about. Not being the one that's right, beating somebody up with scriptures, going back and forth between what the NOI, Nation of Islam, believe, what they don't believe, between them to the Christians, whoever else. And actually really dive into these ancient texts and really understand these things for what they said. So I wanted to give my blessings to the brother again, Pastor Kufu. Y'all can find his name on TikTok. I stumbled upon one of his lectures earlier, and just want to give the brother his flowers, because when that person asked on the live, "Are you a Muslim?" and his response was, "Ishmael is my brother," that's how you know someone is actually in tune with the truth of this divine wisdom and knowledge, and not just beating up the next person because they come from another camp or another tribe or another nation, and you're not understanding that. When you look in the scriptures in the book of Corinthians, it says the Elohim is the God of the all, or the all in all. The Most High is the all and all. So you have all this back and forth between the Hebrews and the Akkadian brothers and sisters. You know, like I said earlier, you can find some things that Israelites that don't agree with other Israelites have done, and that's documented in the scriptures. You find some things that the Moabites have done that us Moabites, especially of this day and time, don't agree with. Especially when the prophet says the Moors are those Moabites. But they're not just those Moabites. The Moors are the Shemites. The Moors are the Hamites, the Japhetites, etc. You're the melanated indigenous people. You're the original people. Simple and plain. You go into the Holy Quran, Circle 7, by the prophet, it's sitting there right there in the text saying, who else is considered Moors? So all these people on YouTube, they say this and say that back and forth about other nationalistic groups and their doctrines, and they have not picked up not one book, not attended one lecture. The week before this, I was in, matter of fact, I think it was the same week. I'm not sure if it was, or at the end of last week, I was in, it was last week. I was in a lecture coming from the Nation of Islam, and just enjoying the fruits that's being delivered in that lecture. Because if you do not understand divine, that is our people. I'm listening to the Taoist brother Montauk earlier, and he's mentioning that he's teaching his people this knowledge first. So we got to get the message out to our people first, which is put your thinking caps on. So with that, we're gonna close out with the holy instructions. I'm gonna change the link at the top of the room. And we can jump into these holy instructions and close out for tonight. And we can jump into these holy instructions and close out for tonight. I'm not sure what was wrong with your app on that end, Uncle Jonathan. Trying to get you to chime in. I don't know if you can hear me. We're going to jump into these holy instructions for tonight. Do the last room reset. Welcome to World Temple Branch Temple number 24 of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We are a global branch temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We're teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed that they may learn to love instead of hate. Come and link yourself with the family of nations by clicking that block of words at the top that says World Temple and join us, even if it's just as a guest member of the temple. And we will be going over how to become an actual active member later on, or here in a second. So next we want to jump into our holy instructions, which is the process of joining the Moorish Science Temple of America, proclaiming your nationality, and what that entails. Because out of all these different religious groups, denominations, and sects, as we just read earlier, we as the Moorish Science Temple of America have the public and lawful acknowledgement as a sovereign theocratic government. And one thing I point out all the time, when you hear the word theocratic, that means decentralized. It means decentralized. That means there's no ruler over this government other than Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, Elohim, the Anunnaki themselves. The Elohs, the Natiru, the Nomos themselves, the Thunderbirds, the gods themselves. We are that congregation of the gods. But the divine creator has absolute rulership over all. Divine nature has absolute rulership over all. The divine intelligence, which we refer to as nous from ancient Greece. So, with that, bring yourself in. Come get involved. Understand the doctrine of the Moorish Science Temple. That there's more to the doctrine than what you're getting from the Moors the typical Moors that most people run into. It'd be a blessing to stumble upon the information that you're getting here. And this is why we're going to make sure that this knowledge is available to everybody, because it's needed. Now, when they say foundational, this is foundational because this is the foundational principles of what the prophet was trying to teach our people. So, as we do here weekly, we go over our civic education, which is the study of the theoretical, practical, and political aspects of citizenship and its rights and its duties, which we talk about as we discuss the knowledge that's coming out of the divine constitution, the knowledge that's coming out of El's holy Injiyl, El's holy Torah, El's holy Qur'aan, and the Holy Qur'an Circle 7, and other texts that have been drafted up. So that includes the study of civil law, civil codes, the study of government, which we talk about during current events, and the temple is open to questions and just sharing of knowledge and wisdom about civics and the civil codes, which we will be getting into some of those things here later on. In the past, especially last year, we read the Dred Scott case, got into some of the treaties last year, or earlier this year, I think, and also last year. But we're gonna be jumping into those things again here real soon, again, and going over them. But we go over our civic virtues, which is those cultivations of habits or traditions that are important for the success of a community. This is a lot of what we just read here in El's Holy Quran tonight, and our civic engagement, how we come together to discuss these things with our elders, and through eldership or through a temple court, through a body, through a tabernacle, through the meetings, through the tent, a meeting. So, with that, Friday is the holy day, or you who know. When the call is proclaimed to supplication on Friday, the day of assembly, hasten earnestly to the remembrance of the Heavenly Father and Divine Mother, and leave all business and traffic. That is best for you if you but knew. And when prayer is finished, then may ye disperse through the land and seek the bounty of God, and celebrate the praises of God of 10, and without stint, that ye may prosper. All chaplaincy temple services and meetings ought to be open and closed properly according to the Circle 7, and love, true peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is a holy day for all Muslims and peacemakers all over the world. This is according to Act 2 of the Divine Constitution and Bylaws by the Prophet Nabi, which states all temples and subordinate temples are to conduct holy day service every Friday, starting promptly at their respective time and ending promptly at their respective time. All civilians, patrons, denizens, prospects, and ministers are expected to attend the temple for the Friday Holy Day Temple service and meet. On Fridays, the Moorish American, Moorish Asian, and Moorish African Muslims and peacemakers all come together to supplicate and to illustrate that which Allah has blessed them with. The temple services are open according to divine love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. At no time will Templars, adepts, ministers, patrons, or outside congregational guests be allowed to disrupt the Holy Day service, nor will civilians be admitted under the influence of alcohol or any severe intoxicants. All Templars, adepts, and civilians attending the Holy Day service must have their heads covered with either a turban, fez, or kufi, or spiritual cover. Baseball caps should not be worn in the temple or during temple service. The Sunday school temple service and meeting is mandatory, and all Moorish national Templars and temple denizens must promptly attend the temple service and send their children to the Sunday school gatherings. The teacher must conform himself and herself to the temple one-on-one questionnaire, and let every civilian man, woman, and child exercise his or her 5 senses who is able to do so, because out from your Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation, and now the entire global village. According to Act 5 of the additional laws by the Prophet Nabi, every subordinate temple should have 2 Sunday school gatherings held. The first meeting should be held 1 to 2 hours before the adult service. Children's Sunday school should be conducted by a director of the Children's Sunday School and programs. The Sunday school gathering is designed to assist the temple in learning the temple one-on-one questionnaire and developing an understanding of just what these holy keys mean and how they are to be applied to our everyday lives. The Divine Constitution and Bylaws, along with the Moorish Prayer, the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation, El's Holy Injiyl, El's Holy Qur'aan, and the civic editions or lessons of the Holy Temple of Moorish Science are also subjects of major concern for the apprentice who is trying to complete his or her mandatory requirements for pronouncing their temple civilianship and global nationality. All lessons for the adult Sunday school gathering must be prepared by a Grand Sheik, a divine minister, or an assistant Grand Sheik. Lessons called by us novites editions may be submitted to the apprentice for completion and returned to the temple. Once the lessons are completed and graded, they must be placed in the active members' temple district file. The Sunday school temple service and meeting is a wonderful opportunity to study the liturgy teachings of the prophet. No civilian is to become disruptive during the Sunday meeting. All Templars must bring paper and pen to the temple service and meeting along with the basic temple literature and assignments. No Templars or patrons to eat food or other snacks during the temple service and meeting, but water is permitted. All Templars must attend their Sunday temple service and meeting as diligently as they attend their holy day temple service and meeting. Both are called out for by the Prophet Nabi, and is required as a matter of temple law. According to the Divine Constitution in part, all Templars must promptly attend their temple services and meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and now also Moorish Science Temple of Africa, the Moorish Science Temple of Asia, and adjoining world islands on behalf of all indigenous peoples. For membership, any heads of temple of all temple jurisdictions are not to charge for naturalization or to overcharge for cards, buttons, or anything issued by it through the profit. Those who contribute to any of the proceedings are not Moors, civilians, or patrons, but robbers. Temple nationality and membership in the Holy Temple's vast estate or public beneficiary trust, sisters and brothers, kin and kinfolk, is free. Not only here, but all over the world. All kin and kinfolk desiring to become a civilian of a subordinate temple must follow these instructions from the temple secretary and acquire the application for naturalization found on our temple website. The secretary of the temple's jurisdiction will help all newcomers by explaining the naturalization affidavit and application for membership in the temple's vast estate or public beneficiary trust to the new prospective civilian of the temple's vast estate or public beneficiary trust, and arranging for him or her to be consulted by the royal council of said temple or subordinate temple. The royal chairman or woman will set the date for the new temple prospect to be interviewed by the royal council. The new temple court civilian, upon completion of the royal council's consultation at the newcomers gathering, Sunday school gathering on Sunday, The new Templars will proclaim their temple nationality at the next upcoming Holy Day Temple gathering. After the new civilian prospect proclaims his nationality, they will be given the mandatory requirements necessary to earn their free national name and royal title of nobility as a true American royal. These requirements are as follows, and in accordance with Chapter 47 of the Moorish Circle 7 Holy Qur'an, called Egypt, the capital dominion of the Empire of Africa. Chapter 25 of the Moorish Qur'an, called the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation. The Moorish Prayer, including the 101 Qur'an questions for Moorish Americans, Asians, and Africans. The divine constitution and bylaws, the additional laws, and the precepts, statutes, and ordinances from El's Holy Torah, El's Holy Injiyl, El's Holy Qur'an, the Holy Tabernacle Family Guide, and also the Holy Tablets, through our Civics 101 course in the Global Interdependent School District and Sacred Halls of Learning, which is called New University by us, of the Holy Temples of Moorish Science for every one of the global village. Once a new civilian or template has learned these additions or lessons verbatim or to the best of their ability, he or she will be interviewed by the Temple's Royal Council as the chaplaincy to determine if the new civilian is qualified to represent himself or herself as a faithful Moorish American, Moorish African, and Moorish Asian Muslim, or any indigenous peacemaker, and communicated to the ignorant for their instructions, and communicated to the wise for thine own improvement. Once the new civilian or template has cleared the mandatory requirements with the Royal Council, he or she will be naturalized by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister of said subordinate temple. All right, y'all, so it's just that simple. You go through the ceremony, you go through the council, the Royal Council's interview as a prospect template, and it's just that simple. It's not this false ideology of status correction. So to get the knowledge, you have to tap in with the temples that are doing things in the foundational way, with the fundamentals, or a fundamental way, better way of saying that, right? So with that, we're going to go over the Holy Shahada, or what we call the nationality procedure. And this is pronunciation of one's nationality, which will be held on Holy Day for all civilians, denizens, templars, peacemakers, or Muslims all over the world. During the ceremony, the new civilian and templars will be ordained in El Bay or Day and given his or her royal peerage title of King, Honorable, Lady, Noble, Nin, Naya, Prince, or Princess by a Grand Sheik and or Divine Minister, and also receive his or her nationality card and button from the Divine Minister of the Grand Major Temple. Upon conclusion of the nationality proclamation, the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister will have the civilian, templates, and temple prospects stand while he or she reads the authority of the Moorish Science Temple of America. It is by virtue of the Religious Corporation Act document that can be found in her revised statutes that gives the Moorish Science Temple of America, Asia, and Africa the authority to restore the nationality and birthrights of the lost Asiatics of America, Asia, Africa, and all world islands, and give them the title to their vast estate and their heritage. The Grand Sheik and or Divine Minister is to read from the card and have the new national state, Allah is God, and Noble Ali the Prophet, and I am Moorish American, African, or Asian, and or world islander. This is our Moorish clarification of faith or Shahada and our national pledge of allegiance. The new civilian or template's free national name should then be added to the Temple's Book of Life as they enroll in the Civics 101 course and our complimentary World Civics Club. The nationality ceremony should be conducted by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister, or any other Divine Minister so designated by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister in his or her time of absence, and most notably by the Assistant Grand Sheik and Divine Minister. The nationality card and naturalization application must be signed bearing the name and title of the Grand Sheik or Divine Minister who issued the application and card and the date of its issuance. The Religious Corporation Act is deemed the Global Interdependent School District and then incorporated and chartered Moorish Science Temple of America, Africa, and Asia as a religious trust and theocratic government established in 1928 on August 20th. This religious trust is the true global trusteeship system for the Holy Family of Nations, forming global nucleus. All right, so y'all can join by clicking that link at the top. Enroll in the school. And it's simple. Like I said, the status correction thing is totally different than what the actual true fundamental principle is. The asset protection stuff and the financial the financial jargon that kind of get tied up into actually correcting your status the real and proper way, or how it is actually known. It has nothing to do with none of the patriotism stuff that kind of get mixed up into this. We have HR 06 89 for the Moorish Science Temple of America and the public and lawful acknowledgement of the Moorish Science Temple of America as a sovereign theocratic government coming from multiple states. You have resolutions in Georgia. So y'all want to go back and listen to some of those old replays where we put those links in the chat for that. But I'm making sure that wherever I go, I make reference to 0689 HR from Chicago. Because we have to, true peace, Brother Don, we have to make sure that we understand that we are publicly and lawfully acknowledged as a sovereign theocratic government. When you talk about these other patriot movements, they're putting you in a state of being a refugee or a stateless person. And if you really look at the actual the laws or books on this, that has nothing to do with being a sovereign. It makes you a political refugee. A lot of these people do not dive into the studies of private international law and international private law, which are two different things. They don't dive into that knowledge. They don't dive into what they're actually discussing, because one side is utilizing legalese, which is the art of legal language. It's the art form of what the law is about. That is to add levels of prestige to those who study the art form of the law. Because you can be a jurist, which is a student of the law, but understanding the art form, that's also a different side. Like in basketball, you got a crossover, you got the 3-point line, you got the rhetoric for that genre, that sport. So legalese is the rhetoric and the genre of language for law. That's all jurisdiction means. The language of the law, the definitions of the law. That's all jurisdiction actually means. Are we speaking the same language? Some might be speaking legalese, and some are speaking plain old etymon from whatever language that they're speaking. And that's what you get into when you get into international private law and private international law. But that's a whole nother course of thing. And this is why I say that's something that requires our people to start becoming Moorish lawyers. Like you have a lot of Jewish lawyers. There should be Moorish lawyers. Should be way more of us Moorish lawyers than it is of them, because we are the progenitors of this thing they call law. So simply put, the status correction thing has nothing to do with the political status and correcting your political status. With us being a theocratic government, sovereign body of government that has the public and lawful acknowledgement, when they say who honors y'all being a government and being a body, right here, the United States of America, they validate us being Moorish American. And then you can continue on throughout the planet to Morocco and other places and validate that you are a Moor. If they, want to add. But as I mentioned earlier, it's theocratic, so it's decentralized. It's decentralized. So it don't matter if you Hebrew, don't matter if you're Nation of Islam, etc. You are Moor. But it's time to get our royal courts in order and understand that it's just a simple interview with the temple court, the temple council, the royal council, whatever temple, branch temple you're going to, and proclaim your nationality, put it on record, and make sure that that record goes to Chicago and get put on the books there. Simply put. And if the temple that you're with is not on the books in Chicago, instead of fighting them and critiquing them, how about you take the initiative and help and do the work? Nation of Islam is lacking, how about you bring the support? Hebrew Israelites is lacking, bring the support that they need. They gather up out of thousands in their room. So for us, it's the Moorish Science Temple of America, who are the progenitors of the Nation of Islam, of the Hebrew Israelite community. We got to get it together. We got to clean up our image and how we present this thing, and clean up this whole patriotism thing and the sovereign citizen stuff and all this crap, and throw it out the door, and let it be known that you do have us who have that lawful and public acknowledgement as a sovereign theocratic government, and we are royal. So with that, we're going to jump into the mandatory literature for tonight. Want to give honors to all y'all who came. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but y'all are here with me, Grand Sheik, Dr. Lawiy. And like I said, we're going to do this whether it's 1 or 2, 1, 3, 4, 50 people in the room. We're going to be here making it happen. We're here every week. And you could also find our sermons and Koopas on YouTube and come and get involved. I'm going to go over extending the olive branch to those that need a temple home here later on in a second. But we are building this royal council. And it's going to be brick by brick, person by person, little bit by little bit.
Yo, quick question. So if your temple not registered in the Cook County, but they got it in the county where the temple reside, you telling me they got to have it on the books in the Cook County for it to be official temple?
Not necessarily, no. Thanks for the question. Not necessarily. Islam, not necessarily. But what it does, it makes the presence of that temple way stronger, if you get what I'm saying, from that standpoint, because the record is in the same location where the actual trust is located, if you get what I mean. The site is of the trust.
No. I had read, peace. I had read some elders that said the same thing too. They did something in the county where they I guess they did an amendment in the Cook County, but only certain sheiks can file in the Cook County now. They won't let nobody file in Cook County.
Right, I definitely agree with that point. And that's due to the fact that you have a lot of temples that are not actually connected to the Moorish Science Temple of America, though that they say they are, and they're not connected to the lineage. So that's why I suggested the Cook County thing, because we are actually on document as a temple number 24 in Cook County, and my charter is actually an official charter that's a part of one of the temples that are on record. So when I took my Hajj to the Mecca in Chicago, we actually got the royal treatment from from Chicago over there, and we did the whole celebration, and the law enforcement people there basically escorted us throughout the whole entire city to do the celebration for Prophet Noble Joe Ali. So that's the difference between why I'm stressing, get away from the patriotism stuff, get away from the sovereign citizen status correction bullcrap, and step into what it actually means to be a person of a different status. You can look it up in the dictionary for political status. That's talking about politics, Democrat, Republican, etc., and the actual origins behind it. Your political status is theocratic. And the most powerful laws in this country for any body of people is that theocratic status. That is a political status. That means our governing authority or form of governance is a authoritarian form of government. You got authoritarian, you got democratic, you got republican forms of government. And different forms that come out of the either or, whether it's Democrat or whether it's Republican, going all the way back to the Greeks, Plato and Socrates and all of that. Understanding political science or political theory and the way it's academically taught and understanding what that definition meant for status, talking about your political status. You have an acknowledged, lawful, publicly, acknowledged political status. So it's different, proclaiming your nationality, putting it on temple record in the temple's book of life, and you become a peer of the court, the royal court or the temple court.
It's not. Can I ask one question again, and then I just listen to the rest. So did you do an amendment to the trustees of your temple?
Did I do amendments of the trustees of the temple? Not necessarily. I just have to have them on record and the reports that we are supposed to be doing for the temple. Each temple is supposed to send in a report to our grand temple or our temple number one for whatever part of the movement you're a part of.
Yeah, but isn't like that kind of in the shambles where some temples like you're not real temples and you're not real green sheep? Like I'm part of this temple is more akin to society, right? But he did an amendment in his county. He's not in New York. I'm in New York. And then before that, I did read the guys from North Carolina. I think it's North Carolina that did. They actually passed a law for the Moorish Temple of America in Cook County, and they said you have to file and put your stuff in Cook County. The same thing you said, bro. I just like that. But they saying individually you can do it. Like the I don't know if you read it, but it's like a trustees in North Carolina of a temple that they said they passed a law for you to gain the full rights of Moorish American. They said all you would do is file in the Cook County under the the filing would be given the Moorish Temple of America, all of that and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. The individual could do it themselves, but like I said, the Grand Sheik, True Peace Doc, I'm gonna bring you up. Like I said, the Grand Sheik is supposed to send that to whatever Grand Major Temple, part of the movement they're connected to, and have that put on the records in Cook County. So it can either come by way of you being a part of the temple, and you not necessarily have to do it as an individual, because the thing is, we're supposed to operate as a temple court and amicus curiae. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the word amicus curiae, but
was that friendly court or something?
Friend of the court. The Moorish
Temple. My fault.
So with the Moorish Temple of America being friends of the court, that means the entire court system at whatever level is at. So what that means is, as a temple court, with us being our own royal, or temple court, however you want to look at it, we have the authority to act as a friend of the court and speak on other people's behalf. We have the authority to become counsel, legal and lawful counsel for members of our temple. So if someone is calling to validate if this person is a member of this temple, and they validating that temple is on record in Cook County, then that validates you through an actual court succession of that person being who they say they are. Or you can do it as an individual, but you still have to get validated by your Grand Sheik or Divine Minister saying that that person is a member of the temple.
Right. What this mode did, and what he amended and filed it in the county where he's at. What he did for the members was, he created a whole affidavit, and he put he got a copy of the charter with the signature. He got a full form. He did a good, little, proclamation for us where you written now, or you conveying all your property, convey all to the Moorish Temple Trust, all that. We got like 7 papers he did it. Right? But the thing is, when Yardaborough, when I talked to Yardaborough on the Graham, she said you only could file certain things there as an individual, bro. And there's only this. Right. But the thing is, when Yardaborough, when I talked to Yardaborough on the Graham, she said you only could file certain things there as an individual, bro. And this Sheik, I think he's in Texas. He want to charge people silvers, bro. He said he wants silvers. I know silver and gold is real money. He was like, he wants silver for you to, you know what I mean? But hey, I was looking for someone that could that's tied into the Cook County, a temple, really, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we tied in, and you're not supposed to charge for membership in a vast state. Membership is free.
Ain't that crazy, bro?
I'm not sure.
Ain't that crazy? He was trying to charge silver. I was there, I was like, wow.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you caught when I just went over the holy instructions, but you came in at the end of it. But that's the main thing I was mentioning. Brothers and sisters, kin and kinfolk, anywhere in the world, wherever you at, membership in the temple vast state is free. So you're not supposed to be charged to become a member of the Moorish Temple of America or be acknowledged under someone's temple. It's just a simple interview. You go through the interview, you do your proclamation on record. This is why I've been ringing the bell here weekly about us recording these temple sessions and services and actually, using this for content creation so that way we could create the needed economic capital that's needed for us in temples. But here nor there, bro, you're not supposed to be charged for none of those things. But anything outside of that, like I was saying, with somebody being a Moorish lawyer or some type of Moorish financial institution, which we need to be developing and bringing up and adding prestige to those type of institutions and organizations, that person can charge for it, whether they want to charge, units of account credit, book entries, whatever, silver, gold, whatever they're charging at. But the thing is, there has to be some actual, institution. And just like you would validate any other, company, business, they have to be a quality and service. This is what the prophet mentioned in the literature. You don't just go to them because they're Moorish people. They got to be giving quality service. So just like I can walk into any other establishment, I can go to any other, wealth management firm, and they suited and tied up and they business, presentable. Same thing with us, bro. Same thing with us. So it has to be the same way. Islam.
Islam. This is Dr. Shalom Gabriy'El, Houston, Texas. Unity Temple number 24. By us being Moors, I mean, you would think that if you step into a Moor establishment, some of us already have the mentality that we feel like we should be top. You know what I'm saying? What was that? What's the word? The creme de la creme. We should be the top example. I mean, we're the ones that taught them how to bathe. We're the ones that taught them, how to clean themselves and how to do other things. Concerning cleanliness. The saying is cleanliness is next to godliness. And you would imagine that you step into a Moorish establishment, it's going to be top notch. Unfortunately, just like anything else, it's not always going to be like that. But all I ask you, fellow Moors, is make sure that your establishment is such to where the Most High would be proud of the establishment that you're a part of or that you've created and upholding. With that, I yield.
So if someone want to charge for wealth management services, you should be prepared to be charged for those type of things. That's the maximums of law. A man and a woman is worthy of their hire. But if it has anything to do with the temple and the temple acting as amicus curiae on your behalf, that has nothing to do with them. Has nothing to do with them and the work they have to do for you. Now, unless it's like a temple court procedure, they could charge for a temple court procedure, because certain things got to be recorded and put on record and all those type of things. And like I said, if they act in a personal individual capacity as legal counsel for you, then possibly they can charge. But that's because they're acting as a counsel. That's because they're doing a service that is not necessarily directly connected to the temple. And another thing, the grand governor or the royal governor of the temple is actually supposed to be the one who steps up to the plate and does certain things and speaks on behalf of the people of that temple. And the secretary is supposed to help the governor make sure that they have all the documentation and things like that in place. So nobody's supposed to be charged for those type of things. So with us, you have the record on Cook County, and I'm pretty much Googleable. They can look me up, find me real quick, call me if they need to, and ask if this person is a member of our temple, or if we had a royal governor in the temple, that person would be easily accessible to look up and find out if they are a member of the temple. Our temple is verified on Google, so it's just a quick search for them. But this these are the things that like I said, we got to get cleaned up. We got to get cleaned up, and we got to clean up the image of our temples, because the whole sovereign citizen stuff is kind of clouding the direction of the whole entire divine and national movement. So I don't know if you wanted to ask anything on, but if not, we're gonna continue into our mandatory literature of the prophet. But we open up at 6 Central Time, and we're supposed to close at 9 p.m. Central. But we're here every week, bro, doing Holy Day. I used to open up for Sunday every Sunday, but I'm holding that off until enough people accept the invite, and then I'll open up the temple for Sunday, for the Sunday gathering. But we here every Friday, making sure we do Holy Day, and just like we have service, this is also a royal meeting for those of the Royal Council. So we here every Friday, and if you've got questions, anything like that, we make sure we try to give people the fundamental and the foundational information that comes directly from the prophet and the way things are actually supposed to be structured. Don't try to go over people's head with all this sovereign citizen jargon and fast talking to get some money out of it. So with that, I'll go ahead and click. I know I need you to go ahead and click that block of words, Dr. Shalom Alak, so you can get that party hat off. Well, I think you already in the temple. Let me check. Okay, yeah.
Are you reading the Holy Qur'an or no?
The Holy Qur'an Circle 7? Or you talking about the Orthodox Holy Qur'an?
Obviously, Circle 7, my brother. Circle 7.
Islam. Yeah, we actually go over both. We go through both. The Prophet wanted us to actually teach from both. So we do teach from both. But we open up the temple with the Holy Qur'an Circle 7, and we do a weekly reading of the Holy Qur'an as well. But the literature I'm about to go over is actually the literature book from the Prophet.
Islam. You ever read the poetry that the Prophet wrote?
Poetry? I heard about it, but I'm not. Are you referring to not the oral sayings and prophecies, huh?
No. He actually wrote some poetry.
Okay, now, so the thing is, you is in New York, right? You said you're in New York?
Yeah.
So you got access to a lot more than what the rest of the world got, because they got a big library in New York for the Moorish Science Temple of America. So you probably got a lot of more information circling around than what we do outside of New York and outside of DC.
You gotta physically go to the New York Public Library to see them. They do have a lot, and they won't put it online. You gotta go there to get it.
Yeah,
I got library cards, so you know what I mean. But I didn't go to see all of it. But some of it was real. Man, if people could go and see it for themselves, man, they would definitely understand this movement, man. Definitely. But then I just have a curious question. So then, what is it to be in more? Then I want your answer. Are you the Grand Sheik of your temple? My brother, my royal brother.
Yeah.
Islam Grand Sheik. What is it then? What is it to be in more? Because if we were in just the fake reality, which would be that status, and Dr. Charlotte Moore and me walk in the room, we wouldn't be considered of the same nationality. So then, what is it to be a Moor?
Okay, what you mean by, you say you and who walking around?
The brother Dr. Shalom. I think his name is Dr. Shalom Malik.
Shalom Alak, yeah. Shalom Alak. Yeah, no, he actually a member of the temple. Of the temple. He's been an active member of it. He actually helped me get things started. But no, you wouldn't necessarily, because you're a member of a temple, right? A branch temple?
I mean, our temple is not in Cook County though, but I'm a member of a temple. But and obviously the temple was amended was in Ohio or something. Because we don't even once he gave me my papers and everything, we don't even have meetings. For a minute, he was gone for a minute. You know, he said when I talked to him again, we was trying to get in the Cook County, but like I said, they said they won't allow filing in Cook County. Like they stopped that.
Yeah, because the issue, what happened over the past couple of years, and the discord that's been happening, even when the prophet was alive, but that like I said, that's based on the lineage of who you're dealing with and how they how they kind of tie in things. So I would hold on, let me explain it. Our Grand Sheik is a little older, and so he ties into the Grand Sheiks that was around during the 60s, the 70s, and going back to members of the temple that was members of the actual building that the prophet taught in Chicago. So they know that our lineage of temples is one of those temple members that kind of go back to when the prophet was alive. So that's what kind of make it hard for different parts of the movement to actually get involved. And then you have all these different branches of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and not speaking against them, respect to each different branch and what they do. But if you want to tie into this, these public and lawful acknowledgments, you want to attach yourself to a temple that is established foundationally and connected to Cook County. I mean, it's a hard thing and a hard thing to get connected with. We was blessed, bro. I just be honest with you. Me and Dr. Shalom Alak, we drew up Chicago. We didn't even know that we would be running into that lineage of temple temples. And
do you know Grand Sheik Marcel Walton?
Yeah, I'm familiar with that name, Islam.
What is your what would you be your like just understanding of what that Moore was doing, that Grand Sheik was doing in the part of the movement? What would be your take? Because some temples is this. I'm just really, you know what I mean? Because for me, they were doing some really on the point stuff, even when it comes to reading the actual law that it's under when you explain it. So what do you think?
That's a part of why I said we got to clean up the image, because a lot of we're getting into the whole sovereign citizen thing. A lot of that seeps over to our people, and they don't even be knowing that they're caught up in it. And if somebody is not schooled, like I have certifications. you know, I done the work where, you know, I went and got certifications and things, you know, to say, well, hey, I have the modern day credentials to say, you know, such and such and such and such, at least it's this, as, you know, a paralegal. So I have some type of, you know, credential and background to stand on, you know, for us in our jurisdiction. But for the next person, you know, you can't really say that. So they end up getting caught up in a lot of the rhetoric and a lot of the so-called processes, which, you know, should be a procedure instead of a process. But these sovereign citizen processes and even the rhetoric that has nothing to do with the proper interpretations, whether it's legal or lawful interpretation and explanations of the law. So they get caught up in, you know, doing Lord knows whatever. And or they might get stuck, you know, and stuck in tunnel vision. Islam.
Islam. I can say this. One of the main reasons why people get confused is simply because we don't advertise it. You don't see, you know, you don't watch the TV and it's like, hey, you know, we're the Moorish Science Temple of America. Come on down and get your nationality and all this and all that. And most of the people are caught up in the commercial realm right now. I mean, let's just be honest. So you're never really going to find out who's who until you actually get out there, investigate, and do your trace back yourself. That's what a lot of individuals are trying. That's what they're figuring out. That's what they're figuring out. So, and the dedicated ones always end up finding their way home. That's what I would always say. And everybody else, you know, I'm not gonna diss anybody or disrespect them, but you know, everybody has their own path, and maybe this looks more appealing for their needs, or maybe that looks more appealing for their character. So people get enticed by these different fake movements, I would say, that aren't really attached to the main movement or the real actual movement to begin with. And to answer your question myself, thank you, Doc. Thank you, Doc, for speaking on that subject matter. But taking it back just for a second. I'm a Moor. I'm a Moor. Simple as that. When I trace my blood lineage, I trace back to my grandfather. Actually traces back to tribes in Mexico that were actually there, the Yucatan, that are linked up to the Nubans that came over when they brought in the trees, what is it, the rubber trees and whatnot, things like that. If I started showing you my lineage, just because I look the way that I look, just 2 generations back, my great great grandfather, they were dark. They look like Snoop Dogg with straight black hair. And then after that, then the hair gets woolly. Then after that, then it starts getting kinky. You know, so I mean, that's me. This, you know, and if I like I keep telling the brothers and sisters that I bump into, if I were to ever deny my melanin, that would be the denial of the God of the universe, and that would be the denial of my connection to the soil here. So I mean, I stand strong on my Moorship.
So what is it to be Asiatic?
Asiatic?
Yeah, what is your understanding is to be Asiatic? Because this is the uniting of the Asiatic nation.
Right. This is the okay. So if my lineage came from Northern Africa, and I traveled into India, or we traveled into India, and then we traveled across what they call Asia, right? And we came across the Bering Strait, and we traveled across here, then all the way over here, and then we traveled all the way down to South America. And I'm talking facts. This is my lineage. So I mean, how would you discredit me?
No, my brother. It sounds like I'm discrediting you. I mean, I really just ride on truth, bro, and I just simply ask, like, because if we were in a regular world and still under this type of Christian,
I understand.
That's what I'm saying. And again, my beautiful brother, it wasn't my understanding might have, this is why I'm asking.
Islam.
And you know me, on these apps, I will attack people, but my brother's Moorish, Asiatic, I don't attack my brothers at all.
No, I wasn't taking it as a, no, but excuse me,
because I've been on the app be like that. I'm like,
Right. Well, Brother Gabriy'El, excuse me, Don, I would definitely not, I wasn't taking it as an attack. I was just putting my lineage out there. And because this is the situation that I'm going through right now. Like right now, I'm actually going through establishing the Mexica Moorish nation, so that way my people will stop being confused about who they are. Because if they're light skinned and they feel more comfortable with the commercialism of the white people, hey, more power to you. You go ahead and you go over there. At least you won't be in our way. And if there's any kind of shade, and even if they don't have the shade, our melanin is actually measured on the inside as well as the outside. And some people are starting to realize that they actually have more melanin based on the inside of them than they actually have on the skin. So I mean, there are different facets and different sciences about all that. So if my people feel more comfortable, and I say my people, just for the argument's sake, because we're all the same people as far as melanated beings coming together. But if my people feel more comfortable over here, then more power to them. And I would definitely, that's why we're going through so much trouble or so much effort to go ahead and establish a Moorish nation over here for them as well. Are connecting them.
So everybody in the world is more than.
It's coming to that point to where if you wake up and you realize that you're melanated, it started off with Mauritania.
So
I understand that.
To be more.
And it's a little bit more complicated than that. I understand. Like I said, my lineage it goes back to a specific place that's connected to certain families.
Islam. Let me address that real quick. So
yes, please.
I actually read that earlier in the oral prophecies of sayings from the prophet. That was one of the things we closed tonight's Uber with is this statement from the prophet saying that we the Moors have the blood of every nation flowing through our veins, thereby bringing about a cross spirit. And then in
that's the oral statement.
Right. That's the oral statement.
The oral statement. The Italians have blood of the Moors. That's why they so mean. I don't know if that's what the oral statement. But I don't go by oral statements, so it doesn't have any weight on me. But I'm listening to what you're saying because
that's why I was about to refer to the Circle 7 Holy Qur'an, because it's also mentioned in there as well. That's how you know this is basically something that the prophet would have said, because it's also mentioned in the Holy Qur'an Circle 7, who's also included in who's considered a Moor. And so once you look over that, I think that's in chapter
was that 47, 46?
45, I think, chapter 45.
Alright, so when the chapter says the Hindus, the Moorish, right. So when he separated the nations, why didn't he just say everybody was Moors?
Because not everybody is.
Because he then said the Moabites who got permission from the pharaohs or the true founders, and then they said they have the Hittites, the Amorites, and the Turks. We know Turkey was over here. The Ottoman Empire was over here. We know that. If you don't understand that, the Turks is a true seed of Hagar. So then, why didn't he just say all of them was Moabite nations?
Right. The prophet wasn't going into detail at that point. He just giving a short diction on who we are. That's why I say you want to refer to chapter think this chapter 40. This is chapter 45, the divine origin of the Asiatic nations. So the Asiatic people is more than just one nation of people. I mentioned this earlier to where if you're saying that the Moabites is the Moors, the prophet also talks about Adam, talks about us being the angels. The Moors, in the 101s, those Moorish people, we are those angels. So this goes all the way back even before the Moabites. This goes back to Shem. This goes back to, Adam and Eve. Before Adam and Eve, you want to get into, previous texts before that. Those olive skin tone people is Moorish people who are the thoughts of Allah, the angels of Allah. That olive skin tone people is referring to melanated people. If that makes any correlative sense to you. But as far as who we are as the Asiatic people, that is, also going back to Laurasia and Eurasia, meaning that we're those beings of Indus Kush Valley, the Kushite, the original Kushites, which Kush extended from what so-called southern Eastern Asia all the way back to West Africa, or even over here to Atlantis, because that's what the dominion that's being described in the Holy Quran Circle 7 to us by the prophet is. That's what he's actually describing, the original landscape of the old, what they call the old world. So I don't know if that makes any correlative sense to you, but I hope it does. Okay, he got kicked out. Can y'all bring him up? He won't let me do it. Can you bring him up, Doc? For some reason, it won't let me bring him. I don't know why it does that. Can y'all hear me, Dr. Shalamala? Can you bring Brother Yavel up? Islam. Or Jonathan, if you can hear me, Jonathan? Let me try it now. This week. Man. Dr. Shalamala, can you hear me? Can you bring him up on stage and send him an invite? I don't know why it won't let me do it. I don't know how he got kicked down. Can you hear me, Kaba? Jonathan? Let me know in the chat if you can hear me, Noble Don. I was just trying to see if you caught what I had said there. Yeah, let me know in the chat. We are at our closing time on the temple. I'm not sure why they won't let him come up on stage. So I'm going to go ahead and close us out with the Moorish prayer, y'all. I appreciate the questions and the contributions tonight. I want y'all to enjoy the rest of y'all holy day with your families. We're going to end at our respective time as we're supposed to. So we're going to go ahead and get these messages out from the prophet real quick, and then we're going to close out with the prayer. And bring it on home. I don't know why I did that. I should have modded him up so I wouldn't have did that. But let's go ahead and close it out. Who is that? Islam.
No, my apologies. I was just sad to step away.
I'm gonna just close us out for tonight. Do our mandatory literature and close it on out because I don't want to go too over time. So we just gonna close it out with our mandatory literature for the night and do our prayer. Get our last piece, and then we're gonna close out. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into this mandatory message from the prophet. The prophet wants us to read this in every temple meeting and temple service. The prophet said, I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your card at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the laws laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Ali, and if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet therefore is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. True peace, Noble Ali. All right, y'all. So we're going to close out after this last mandatory message with our prayer and take it on home. Y'all can be anywhere in the world, but y'all here with me, Grand Sheik Dr. Lawiy. The prophet wants us to proclaim this in every temple meeting and temple service. Islam. The prophet say, I'm glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There's a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim that I was only a joke and unreal. But now since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me in the movement will be remembered. That's why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without me, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet Noble Ali. With that, y'all, we're going to close out with the prayer. Anybody got any last contributions real quick? I'm about to add the link for the people that come in, listen to the replays, so they can become active members in the temple. You do have to pay your dues and your things like that, but to join, you are not paying anything when you first come in. So let that be remembered always and let it be known. With that, we got any last contributions before I jump into the prayer? Islam. Shalom. All right. Well, got no last. You saying something, Doc?
I would just like to thank you once again. First off, my apologies for not. There's been a few times where I have the phone in my hand and I'm about to click on and I pass out, wake up in the middle of the night and have regret. So my apologies to you and everybody for not being able to be here certain times. And I'm coming to a point to where I'm starting to realize and feel. Excuse me for saying, but it's not like church. It's more just missing family. This is my family here, and you know, I'm missing my family, and I will and myself do my diligence to be more supportive and hear more often.
Islam. Like I say all the time, you used to have those that gather to to the slave master and end up in one of the slave master churches, or you had those that was invited to the tribal powwow. This is that tribal powwow right here. And everybody got the opportunity to understand that a lot of people get discouraged about the temple, being churchy, but it ain't like the spiritual powwow that was happening amongst the tribes, wasn't having revelations, wasn't having inspirational lectures or sermons and kupas. This ancient culture comes from us indigenous people. What they do in the church, like the prophets say, my best morals are in the church. That comes from us indigenous people. So, with that, we always glad to have, and like I said, we building this royal council one by one. We building this royal court one by one brick at a time. So, and it's open to guest members to come in and ask questions and understand more about their membership, or just how temples are supposed to function, things like that. We answer the fundamental and foundational questions as best to our ability that we can, to make sure y'all got that that source of knowledge that you need. So with that, we're gonna go and close it out with the Moorish prayer. Y'all know how it goes: facing the east, feet at a 45-degree angle, 2 fingers up, 5 fingers up. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through His holy prophet, Noble Ali. Amen. With that, y'all, enjoy the rest of y'all night. We will be back here next Friday or this Sunday if there's enough people that want to join for the gathering, which is mandatory. So just as well as this is mandatory, Sunday is mandatory, and you should actually be gathering here for your children. A lot of our members have children, right? So they should be opening up Sunday school gathering before I even notice it's open, because those are not my children. If my children were directly with me, then I would be opening up for Sunday regardless of anybody came or not, because my children would be here for Sunday school. So it just is what it is. With that, y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening. Divine love, Hua, and Wadu. Hua, Islam. It's gonna be, the records will be on YouTube, and like I said, Clubhouse said they working on it, so we're gonna get us some time. True peace, Noble Jonathan. I know you didn't get to chime in, but much love to you. Much love to Brother Avel. Honors to the Prophet. Honors to all that came in participation. And honors to the Divine Creator. What do y'all?